Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome back to Goodison Park. I'm Sarah Halpin and we are back with Everton Live, bringing you all of your pre-match build-up here from inside Goodison Park. So let's have a quick look at what is to come on today's show. We've got the player arrivals, we will have the team news here for you as it drops. We'll have a look at this week's training, and of course it was great to see Richarlison back in full training with the rest of the team. Exciting stuff with the progress of Bramley Moore Dock, and we'll take a closer look at that. Ben Godfrey interviewed about his recent battle with COVID and the aftermath of that. We've had the highlights of under-23's fantastic comeback against Leeds last week. We'll hear pre-match from a player, from Rafa Benitez, and as ever, we'll have the live commentary for you on evertonfc.com. But now it's time to introduce today's guest. Here's a familiar face on Everton Live. It's Graham Stuart. Yes, so absolutely delighted to have Diamond back on the show with us. Graham, how have you been keeping this season?
Yeah, I'm keeping okay. I'm fit and healthy, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
But no, everything's fine. So that's the good news. I'm obviously enjoying the season getting underway again as well. So it's been a decent start to the season. A little bit of a falter last week, which was unfortunate, but hopefully we get back on track today.
Of course, well, like you just said then, obviously a really disappointing result last time out against West Ham to lose 1-0 at home. Ended that 100% home form record as well. How desperate do you think Rafa Benitez and the team will be to get back to winning ways today against Watford?
Yeah, I think that's vitally important for us. I mean, you know, sometimes after a defeat, the most important thing is how you bounce back. It's a wonderful opportunity for us today at Goodison Park because, you know, Watford aren't having the best of times. You know, I mean, no Premier League sides are gimme, you know, but this is as good as a gimme as you're going to get, especially with us being at home, especially coming off the back of that defeat against West Ham. You would really like to think that we will come out straight away, 100%, get some shots on target, get the crowd up. That's always vitally important for me when you're here at Goodison Park. Get the crowd off their seats, get them with you from minute one, get some tackles in, show some energy and desire, and the crowd will be with you, and hopefully we kick on and get the 3 points.
Oh, this is so important, isn't it? That table being so tight, and I think even a point against West Ham would have taken us into the top 4, so it is disappointing in that sense, but a massive opportunity. Two teams that are a bit wounded, obviously. Of course, Watford fall into a heavy 5-0 defeat last weekend. Ranieri's first game in charge as well. Do you think they would, obviously they didn't have the new manager bounce then, but he will be desperate to get that today, won't he?
He will. I mean, he wasn't in the job very long before he came, you know, against the, you know, tough side that Liverpool are. We have to give them the credit. They're a really, really decent side, Liverpool. So that was a real, you know, tough game for him to have as his first one. But he's had a week to train the players now, to get his message across on the training ground. And look, he's a top manager. He's won titles, he's won trophies, so he knows what he's doing. He's nobody's fool. So a week with him on the training ground with his side will certainly be, I would guess, they'll be far better prepared than they were perhaps for that Liverpool game.
Definitely. And do you think there'll be like an air of cautiousness from either side, obviously both on the back of defeats last week? Or do you think you'll see Everton going at it all guns blazing today and looking to make it right? Yeah,
Sarah, I mean, I think we've got to go out, we've got to be on the front foot. It's as simple as that. We've got to, I keep saying it, I've said it a couple of minutes ago, get the crowd with you straight away. First 10 minutes, get the ball in the box, get some crosses, get some excitement, get people's backsides off their seats, and, you know, let's go out, you know, wholeheartedly, front foot, and let's go out and make the crowd understand how much we want to win this game of football.
And of course the table is so tight, you know, 3 points today, and we find ourselves in a really, really strong position, you know, almost a quarter of the way into the season. That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it would be, yeah. I mean, exactly, get back on track, get 3 points, get ourselves, you know, in that top 6 if we possibly can. You know, and that's vitally important for us because we've got a tough game afterwards away at Wolves next week on the Monday night. So that's going to be a difficult game because all of a sudden Wolves have found a little bit of form as well. So first things first, let's get this job done here at Goodison Park this afternoon, and then we can take that momentum into Wolves away.
Absolutely. Well, we will have the team news for you in about 10 minutes or so's time. We've got the players arriving now as well. Obviously, we mentioned before, disappointing to see that Abdoulaye Doucouré is going to be missing for a while. He's a massive loss. Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. Yerry Mina. These are massive losses. But look at some of the players we've still got in there as well. It's fantastic to see. And of course, Richarlison. Do you think he'll be back to start against his former club today?
Yeah, I mean, if he's fit, I would suggest you start him. It's as simple as that. I mean, we don't have the luxury of, you know, the squad to say, I'll tell you what then, Richarlison, you just sit tight and we'll ease you back in. I think if he's fit, he plays. It's as simple as that. He's a goal threat for us as well. And, you know, goals win your games of football. It's very, very difficult for us. And any side will be hurt by losing 2 or 3 of their top players. Doesn't matter what level you're at. If you lose 2 or 3 of your top players, you're going to find that difficult. And we found that difficult with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, with Richarlison. Obviously now with Doucouré out as well, that's a real blow, because I think he's been absolutely outstanding so far this season. You know, he seems to have taken the reins off a little bit, and he's all over the place, using the physicality that we know he's got, and he's been all over the place. He's been all around the pitch, and he's been excellent, one of our best players so far this season. So he's going to be a real miss for us. Yeah,
a real hammer blow to miss out on Doucouré, but that leaves us with the question for Rafa Benitez of who comes in to replace him. Are we thinking perhaps Tom Davies, Gabarmin?
Yeah, I mean, I would guess he'll probably play Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Andre's still out, injured as well, so I'm guessing Tom purely from a fitness perspective. Gabarmin, I was so desperate for him. I saw him in pre-season, and he had some really good performances in pre-season.
Yeah.
I just thought, can we just keep him fit? Because he's got a great size. He's got, he's a real good specimen of a player.
He's a presence, isn't he?
He's a real
as well?
presence, and he can eat 40 yards of ground up very, very quickly as well. And I was just thinking to myself, if we can keep him fit, he'll be a great weapon for us with Doucouré as well in there. But obviously, it's that's not happened so far this season. He keeps picking up these little niggly injuries, and you feel for the boy, because you're just desperate for him to get out in an Everton shirt and show everybody what he can do. But it's not even been a stop-start. It's just been pure stop for the poor lad. So I would guess Tom plays today.
Yeah, and Tom, of course, local lad, someone who understands how important it is that we get this club back into Europe and back where we belong. He'll be right up for this today if he gets the nod from Rafa, won't he?
Yeah, Tom will be up for it. There's no doubt about it. But I hope Tom's been sat there, and I hope he's frustrated, because he's been a little bit in and out the side. But he's probably looking at Doucouré and seeing what Doucouré does, getting himself all around the pitch. I've said it before numerous times. Tom, you can't just sit in front of the back four. I mean, Alan does that, but he's the one that, he's the disciplined one. The other midfield players have got to get themselves around the pitch. So I think Tom, if he starts, he's got to really have a look at what Doucouré's been doing so far this season, and try and influence the game. Get yourself all around the park. Get yourself in goal-scoring opportunities. Get in the box. Get up and down the pitch. He's got the energy to do it. So don't sit yourself in front and think that it's okay to do your job just sat in front of the back four. You've got to do more than that.
Absolutely, and of course, a couple of more. We mentioned Yerry Mina will miss out today as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so a few injuries. But do you think that the missing personnel will change the way we set up, or do you think it will be like-for-like replacements today?
No, I think, I'll be very surprised if there's too many changes from the side that we saw against West Ham. I mean, I think we'll go with a flat back four again. We don't really seem to play a back three very well from what I've seen so far. We've struggled with it. I think it will be Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey as the 2 centre-halves, obviously Seamus at right back and Luca Dean left back. So I think the back four pretty much speaks for itself. The change is obviously going to be in the middle of the park. But just set yourselves up pretty much as we were against West Ham, I think.
Well, of course, you've got young Anthony Gordon as well there, who's been getting in and around the squad a lot this season under Rafa Benitez. The likes of Lewis Dobbin as well. He was on the score sheet for the under-23s the other day. Do you think we'll see any of our young lads out there today?
Do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me to see Anthony Gordon start. I mean, I look at Alex Iwobi, and to be fair to Alex Iwobi, he looked quite sharp for the first few games of the season. He didn't have a particularly great game against West Ham. I think he'd hold his hands up to say that. So there's a possibility that Rafa might look at Anthony and play him instead. I thought Anthony actually did okay at Old Trafford as well. I was surprised to see him lose his place, if I'm honest. So that wouldn't surprise me if that was one change as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we will have the team news for you very, very shortly indeed. Both Everton and, of course, our visitors today, Watford. Watford, is there any players? We'll have, of course, a few players returning to Goodison Park. Joshua King, Tom Cleverley as well in there. A point to prove, perhaps, for Joshua King?
Yeah, Joshua King especially. I mean, Tom played plenty of games for us, and I'm sure, as the crowd here at Goodison always do, they'll give those boys a decent reception, I'm sure. But Joshua King, didn't really get the chances that perhaps he probably felt he deserved under Carlo Ancelotti here with his tenure. So, as you say, point to prove. Wounded animal, what have you. That worries you a little bit, doesn't it? So he could well start up top for Watford this afternoon.
He could. There'll be a flame in his heart, no doubt, to try and come here. He didn't really get given a chance, did he, at Everton? To be honest, he's not a player that we got to see too much of at all. So
no, and it's the same for any player. I mean, if you stop-start and you don't really get a run of games, you probably don't really show what your true value is. And Joshua King, for whatever reason it was, didn't really get too many opportunities here at Everton. So disappointing for him, but I've always quite liked him as a player. He's got good pace. He's always given us a few problems here when he came with Bournemouth. So certainly, he's a better player than we saw.
Yeah, he certainly is. I agree with you on that one. And two players that we've not even mentioned yet who've been absolutely sublime for us all season so far, Andros Townsend and Damari Gray as well. Can we expect, big things from them today as well? Yeah,
very much so. I mean, you look at those two boys and the impact that they've had on the side, not just the club, the side. You can come here and be part of a squad, but those two boys have stepped in and been key players in our team, the first 11. Damari Gray, for me, has been absolutely outstanding so far this season. He's got great poise, great balance, good speed. He offers a threat to you. He looks like a goal threat. He looks like he's going to create every time he gets the ball. Andros Townsend, very, very experienced player. Probably, a bit of a dodgy patch at Crystal Palace. Maybe got a bit stale there. But he's come here, and I think he's embraced the whole football club. I think he got here and thought, wow, this is a big football club. If I can make an impact here, it's going to be unbelievable for me. So he's he puts crosses in the box. He's a goal threat. He can shoot with both feet. They're things that it's not enough to just be on the pitch. Yeah. You've got to have an effect, especially if you play in the positions that Andros and Damari play. You've got to be held accountable to what you do. And I think that's what Rafa's done. He's saying to Andros Townsend, I want you to get crosses in the box for me. I want Damari Gray. I want you to create chances. I want you to get shots on target. I think the pair of them have been absolutely outstanding so far.
They've been superb, haven't they? And like when you think of the price we paid for them, it's absolutely obscene, really. Yeah. It is a steal. And you've got to think of someone like Richarlison as well. If he's got the nod to start today, he must be rubbing his hands together, haven't he? Looking at the deliveries from the likes of Damari Gray and Townsend as well.
Well, I mean, the good thing about Richarlison is, even if he's not having the greatest game, he still offers you a goal threat, Richarlison. And he doesn't stand out on ceremony, out on the touchline wide, when crosses are coming in. He gets himself where it matters in the 6-yard box. He wants to score goals. And that's so important. The amount of times I watch players and they stand outside the goalpost and think they're going to score from outside. Goals are scored between the goalposts, and that's what Richarlison does. He gets himself in the box and he gets his head on things, and hopefully with Damari and Andros' delivery, he'll score some goals for us.
Well, let's hope so, and we will soon find out. Little over a minute now until the team news is out, so we will find out if our pigeon Richarlison is back starting at Goodison Park. But yeah, confident about this one today. Richarlison loves to do well against Watford, his old club, doesn't he?
Yeah, again, I mean, we spoke about it with the Joshua King situation. He's going to want to do well because he didn't have a great time here. Equally, Richarlison playing against his old club, he's going to want to prove a point. Not that he has to so much prove a point. I mean, he's a Brazilian international, fantastic player, done brilliantly for us. But there's just that little edge when you play against one of your former sides. So hopefully that'll bring out the best in him if he starts.
Let's hope so. He has, of course, been a thorn in the side of Watford before. We've got highlights later in the show, actually, of that fantastic 3-2 win against Watford a couple of years ago back at Vicarage Road. And it was Richarlison who, of course, set up the winner with Theo Walcott in the last minute, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I remember the celebrated fans went absolutely wild. It was, it doesn't get any better than that as a supporter, does it? Scoring a last-minute goal, winning the game, it's as good as it gets. So I don't want a last-minute goal today. I want plenty of goals, but
we want it to be a little bit more comfortable
relax
for our health, don't we? Rather than waiting in the last minute. But speaking of that game, we've seen that under Rafa this season, haven't we? That obviously not last weekend, but in games so far this season at home where we've gone behind and we've turned it around. And there's great sort of mindset with this group. I think.
Yeah, that's pleased me because it's a difficult place to play. I've mentioned this so many times. Goodison Park can be a very tough place to play. If things go against you, sometimes the crowd, they can get on your back a little bit. It can be tricky, but they've shown character. They've got themselves back. I don't think we've really played great football. We had a purple patch against Burnley, didn't we, for 15 minutes in the second half, which pretty much won us that tie. That's probably the best football we've played so far here at Goodison. We've actually played better from where I am, away from home.
Well, let's hope that we turn that around and play some of our good stuff at home today at Goodison Park. We have got the team news in for you, and it is as follows. In goal, we've got Jordan Pickford. It will be Michael Keane, number 6, Alan, number 11, Damari Gray starts as well as expected. Luca Dean, Andros Townsend, Ben Godfrey, Seamus Coleman, that man that you just said, Graham Stuart in Anthony Gordon gets the nod to start, and of course Tom Davis has come in as well to replace the injured Decore, and we've got Salomon Rondon up top as well. Let's have a look at the subs for the Blues today. Asmir Begovic, Andy Lonergan, we've got John Joe Kenny, Mason Holgate, Richarlison starts on the bench today, Alex Iwobi, John Philippe Gabarmin as well there, and Lewis Dobbin. Let's have a look at our visitors, Watford. So in goal, Ben Foster, Jeremy Ungakia, we've got William Troost Ikong, Joshua King, who will be looking to make an impression against his former club, Adam Messina, Craig Cathcart, Ozan Tufan, Muso Sissoko, easy for you to say, Ismail Indez, and Juraj Kuka as well. Let's have a look at the bench for Watford. We've got Bachmann, Loser, Tom Cleverley, Pedro, Seema, Nkulu, Dan Gosling as well, another former Toffee as well, Ashley Fletcher and Emmanuel Dennis, and of course the manager, Claudio Ranieri there. So that is the Everton team. Tom Davis has come in, Anthony Gordon has come in as well.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? That's about as what we expected.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, the big question was whether Richarlison was fit to start the game. Rafa obviously has decided that he's going to bring him off the bench if required, which suggests to me that he probably could do with another week's training to be really up to speed. Otherwise, I think he probably would have started him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's fit enough to be on the bench, you know, the argument is, well, why don't you start him? But I would guess that if we're ahead in the game, he might not even bring him on and just give him that extra week's training. I mean, I doubt Richie. You know what Richie's like? He won't be happy one little bit.
He'll be chomping at the bit.
Oh,
there,
he will be chomping at the bit. He never looks the happiest at the best of times, does he? But no, he'll be desperate to get back into the action. I mean, it'll be a nice scenario, wouldn't it, to be 3-0 up and, you know, give him 20 minutes, half an hour at the end of the game and let him ease his way back into it. But you know, but my guess is he probably could do with another week's training. Yeah,
so probably Rafa erring on the cautious side a little bit there with Richarlison.
Yeah.
You can't afford to pick up any more injuries, can we? You know,
no,
probably
exactly.
doesn't want to risk
well,
making it
you know,
worse.
we've missed him for a good few games now, so you don't want to push him to the point where, you know, he goes out there and pulls a hamstring in the first 10 minutes or something along those lines. I guess that's what his fear is. So probably just leaving him and, as I say, try and ease him back into the season.
Absolutely. Well, it is, a big game, of course. Again, Anthony Gordon starts on home turf in front of this crowd. He will be rubbing his hands together, won't he, and really looking to make an impact.
And he will, and I think the crowd will be happy that he's playing as well. You know, you love to see the young players come through, so the crowd will be with him. They've seen flashes of what Anthony can do. I think the thing for Anthony is to become a consistent player now. We know what he can do. We know he's got good pace. We know he can score you a goal as well. He's got great desire and he'll work hard. What he's got to add now is consistency, and I'm sure that's what Rafa's saying to him, right? You know, you can't be in 1 week, out the next week. He needs to be playing on a regular basis, and the only way you can cement your position is to be consistently good, a la Damari Gray, Andros Townsend.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been superb so far this season. And of course, Tom Davis has stepped in as well. Decore's going to be out for a little while, a good few weeks. This is an opportunity for Tom, isn't it, to kind of put his stamp on things and show, look, I should be starting ahead of whoever else.
Well, I hope that's the attitude Tom takes into the game, and that's what I would like to say. As I said earlier on, it's now an opportunity because, you know, Decore's going to be out for probably a good few weeks with his stress fracture. Mm-hmm. You know, it's an unbelievable opportunity for somebody like Tom to step in and stamp his authority. Still waiting for Tom to stamp his authority on this team. Yeah. Go out there, dictate the game. Get yourself about the pitch. You've got to produce. You've got to produce the goods. It's not enough to just be out there. I want Tom to really grasp it and get out there and start dictating the game.
Oh, it'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be great to see Tom on the score sheet today as well. We'd absolutely love that. But it's been a tough week at training at Finch Farm. Let's have a look at it now.
Morning.
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 Yeah.
as well, so we have to do a shoot and drill. And I'll win. That's it. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just rotate side to side. Come with me, there's a ball. Take you. There's another ball. Rotate the hips, lads, yeah? Big circle. When you do this, yes, guys, just pulling the knees to the front. Stretch. Come here and get down the other knee. On it. On it. Seamus, on. Keep in. Look at. Hands on. Got 7. Feels slow. Still going. Michael. Let's go. Last man standing, let's go. 8. What you scored, Michael? Come on, Anthony. Hit the out. See you left. Get Chippy out now. You know? Oh, Anthony, a worthy winner.
How many points?
6 points for him. Good. Anthony, you're on fire, lad.
Did I tell you at the start?
Yeah, you did.
Didn't I?
Yeah.
Great stuff from training there this week, and it was great as well to see Delph and Andre Gomez are both back in light training. You know, more than ever, we kind of need the squad depth strengthened, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I mean, you look at the bench over the last few weeks; it's been full of kids.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem we've got at the moment. You know, from 1 to 11, if we put our strongest side on the pitch, you know, we're a match for most teams. You know, when we lose a few, it becomes a little bit more difficult for us. So to see those guys back in light training is great news for everybody.
Just makes the squad look a little bit healthier in numbers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, Anthony Gordon, we've already spoken about him a lot on today's show, but great to see him looking so sharp in tune training.
Yeah, he obviously his day there, because even his scuffs were going in the bottom corner there, Anthony, as well. And he won't thank me for saying it. He'll be telling me it was a pure strike every single time. But listen, we all hope that Anthony can transfer that form from the training ground onto the pitch, because he can score goals. We know he can do that. So, you know, hopefully he can have a good afternoon.
It'd be a special moment, wouldn't it, if Anthony Gordon was to be able to score a goal? Imagine him, Gladys Street end, put the Blues in front.
But that's what he's got to dream of, and but you've got to turn your dreams into reality. That's what I keep saying. You know, it's not enough to just dream the dream. You've got to go and make it happen, and hopefully Anthony will do that this afternoon.
Oh, I hope so. And as you've said from the start of the show, and it is so true for this ground, you've got to get us fans on side. If you get the fans on side, then you've got a hell of a lot of a better chance of doing well in the game.
These fans don't ask for much. All they want is desire, energy and passion. Yeah. Show it. Yeah. It's the minimum requirement anyway for any professional footballer. If I was the manager, that's my minimum requirement for players, to get out there and enjoy themselves, express yourself, run around. You're fit lads. You know, you've got the best opportunity ever in the whole wide world. You're earning money playing what you love doing. So go and express yourself, go and enjoy it, show the fans the passion, because they'll be with you.
They will be with you. That's what we do. Give us everything and we'll be right there with you. Now, speaking about fans, it's brilliant to have them back here in Goodison Park, but soon we will have a new home in Bramley Moore Dock, and the work has begun. Let's have a look at this VT.
Well, as you can see, it's a beautiful, clear day here at Bramley Moore Dock, and as I've said on numerous occasions before, it really is fascinating to come down here to the site and observe the subtle changes that are taking place as everything comes together. Now, today is a hugely significant day in the entire Bramley Moore project. Today is the day that the foundations, the very foundations of Everton's brand new stadium will be laid. To find out a bit more, I spoke to Danny Jones. Danny, there's a huge drill behind us that I've not seen before. What's it doing?
So we're currently drilling for the foundations for the northern stand, the western terrace. So we basically drill down to around 15-16 metres. You'll see that at the minute he's actually concreting, so The drill's got a big hollow stem inside, so as he drills, he then pumps concrete through to the bottom, through the hollow stem, replacing the bore with essentially just a column of concrete, and then we place the reinforcement cage inside the bore, and then that's when you'll start connecting the pile caps for the main structure to build on.
How many holes similar to this one are you going to have to do in total?
Looking in the region at the minute, I think around 2,500.
Wow.
The 600 diameter, I think all the piles around that, 600 diameter. The deepest pile we've got is about 18 metres long, roughly taking anywhere around 4 to 6 cubic metres per pile.
So this is going to take quite a while, isn't it? Can you estimate how long those 2,500 will take?
So I think we're anticipating, depending on obviously the progress of the dock, middle of next year completion of the piling. We have got some different type of piling over here, where we've got a bit of a couple of piles, some bridge. We've got some granite to core through, which we'll be doing the back end of next year. Yeah, quite a few piles, definitely.
So this process here, it's absolutely essential. Nothing else can happen without this.
Yeah, without the pile, just the nature of the ground. There's certain loads, so obviously with the stand and the fans sitting on the stand as well. Certain loads which need to be transferred somehow, and obviously the way we do that is through a piled foundation. It's a big field for us. We drill, fill, and move on to the next one. But obviously the way we have like the digital models and stuff, I don't know if you've seen that, but it is quite good now. You do actually get to see that, and like we have got a collaborative approach with Expanded and Lango Rock, and it's something that we are getting a bit more exposure to now, and it does look good.
Goosebumps, to be honest, watching that there, Graham. It is so exciting to see Bramley Moore dock. Obviously, we're building on a dock, so there's an awful lot of work to be done there, but it's started. We can start to see things in action. It's exciting.
I mean, it's incredibly exciting news. I mean, you know, the vision that we've all have as our football club down on the dock there, I mean, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, there's obviously a long way to go and a hell of a lot of work to be done, but you know, we leave here with heavy hearts on the day it happens, but crikey, moving into that place down there on the dock, you know, it'll be sensational. It's something for us all to look forward to.
It really is, and you know, as you said, it would have to be somewhere incredible, because this place is magic. This place is so special to each and every one of us. So it had to be something out of this world to get us there. And you know, as devastated as we will be, and so I try not to think about it too much leaving this place. What an incredible place that'll be to sit and watch the Blues.
Well, it will be. I mean, and look, we've all got some magical memories of Goodison Park, and there's been some incredible nights, you know, Bayern Munich, you know, the madness of the Wimbledon game, the horror. I mean, that was a horrible day for everybody involved. But so there's been some special times in here, but we've got to go and recreate that now. We've got to go and create special times down at Bramley Moore Dock, and I'm sure we will. You know, by the time we get there in 3 or 4 years' time, whatever it may be, you know, we're hopefully we've got a team on the pitch, you know, that you know gives Bramley Moore Dock you know, the special factor for us to go there. There's no point in having a sensational stadium and an average team. We need to have a top team in the best stadium in the country, because that's what it will be.
Absolutely, a team fit to grace the beautiful pitch at what is going to be an absolutely beautiful stadium. Yeah. I just can't wait. What's you looking forward to most about the ground?
Do you know what?
Mersey?
Yeah, I think just the whole thing. I just think, you know, that the impact it's going to have on, you know, Liverpool as a whole. You know, it's not, you know, not just us as a football club. The whole city.
Absolutely.
You know, it's going to be incredible. Rejuvenation of that area. You know, the jobs that will go out as well. So, you know, it's not just the football side of it. It's the business side of things as well, which is going to be fantastic for everybody in Liverpool, and we'll be so proud to have the best venue in Merseyside. our you know, their big stand.
They do another extension or
they can have another extension, and they can look down on our brand new shiny stadium down on the dock.
Absolutely perfect. I love that. Graham Stuart rattling the Reds, if there's any watching this now. Fantastic stuff. But now let's have a little chat with Ben Godfrey.
12 months ago today, I think you made your debut when you came on in that Merseyside derby. So how do you view the year as a whole?
It's flown by. Loved absolutely, you know, every second of it. It's mad that it's been a year. I can't believe that, but yeah, you know, I've really enjoyed it. You know, and hopefully many more years to come.
Why do you think it has gone so well? Because on a personal note, young player of the season, and your stocks just continue to rise and rise.
Yeah, it's just, it's a great club to be a part of. Great lads. Everyone, around me is here to help and help me learn, and I'm just really enjoying my football here, and I'm sure every single other lad will tell you that in there as well. What a club to be a part of. So yeah, as I said before, it's been a great year and loved every second.
Frustrating start to the season for you, wasn't it, with having the COVID and having to wait to come back? That must have been a difficult period.
Oh, it was awful, mate. Yeah. So obviously. Got COVID a couple of days before the first game of the season, which was devastating because the fans were going to be back in the stadium as well. So that was horrendous. And then for me, it was the recovery side was tough. The first couple of games back, it was awful. My breathing, and I found myself fatiguing really early on in games. After a single sprint, when normally I'd back myself to be up and down, and I was blowing in the first few minutes. It was mad. You can't describe it unless you've experienced it. But the past couple of games, I felt a lot better, and I feel more or less back to myself now, which is good. And hopefully more good performances from the lads now. And hopefully I can be a part of it and help the lads get 3 points.
You looked like Ben Godfrey we knew at Old Trafford, and again today. So you are feeling
like you said, it was mad, mate. It was like it was like you had someone else's body. I'd make a sprint, and it'd feel like I've played 88 minutes, even though it was just 5 minutes into a game. You just can't describe it. But the club, the staff have been brilliant with me and helping me, get over that hurdle. More or less back to my normal self.
Always love hearing from Ben Godfrey, and no doubt he'll be a player that will be wanting to start at Bramley Moore Dock in a few years, but it's a little while to wait from now. But obviously Ben contracted COVID and he was quite ill. We've heard recently him talk about the aftermath of all that and how much he's kind of struggled. It's a shame for him, isn't it? Yeah,
it's been a real shame. I mean, thankfully he's back up to full fitness again now, Ben, but you could see earlier on in the season that it did knock him. He wasn't the Ben Godfrey that we saw last season. He was absolutely outstanding for us last season. Unfortunately, the fans didn't get to see that in this stadium, obviously. But now, I'm sure Ben will be absolutely delighted that he actually feels now ready to contribute at that same level, because it certainly did knock him, and you could see that in his performances. He was struggling for breath and what have you. It's tough. You're trying to get your fitness at Premier League level. And that's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. That's what So if you miss your pre-season or you're ill during the pre-season, you're playing catch-up. Exactly. You're playing catch-up from minute one, and you're catching up in a very, very tough league. So hopefully Ben is now where he needs to be.
Let's hope so. And it was interesting to hear him say that he felt like he was playing football in somebody else's body. That must just be, he knows what he's capable of, but it's almost like his body hadn't been allowing him to hit those levels that he. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I mean, it's a horrible feeling, because you know what you want to do, but your body doesn't allow you to do it, and it's a horrible feeling. But you get it back. Yeah. And Ben, hopefully, as we said, is nearly there now, or as good as 100% fit now, because, as you said there, Sarah, he's going to be a big player for us in the future. I really hope so. Yeah, but I mean, he's still a young man. He's still learning his trade. I mean, there's still things he's going to have to improve upon. But you can see all the tools are there for him. He's a great size, great athleticism, and he knows what he's doing. He won a couple of headers last week against Antonio, where he's absolutely powered above him. And the disappointing thing, probably from Ben's perspective, was he wasn't great on the ball last week. He lost that little bit of belief a little bit, where last year he'd get on, a little bit of confidence. Whereas last year he'd have got on the ball and driven forward. He sort of looked a little bit edgy to me, but it's all part of the process of getting your game back up to top speed.
Brilliant. Well, we're looking forward to having Ben Godfrey back at his best. But now let's take a look back at under-23s and a dramatic game against Leeds last week.
Goal for Everton, scored by number 9, Charlie Whittaker. Goal for Everton, scored by number 14, Reece Hughes.
What a comeback that was for the under-23s against Leeds. 2-0 down to win 4-2. And of course, Lewis Dobbin on the score sheet. Tyler Onyango's back as well. Disappointing result for them last night, but that was a positive sign.
That was a positive sign. Great to see Tyler back as well, and great to see Lewis Dobbin continuing his red-hot form as well, scoring goals. He's been in and around the first team, hasn't he, young Lewis Dobbin? So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of him at first team level. But no, fantastic comeback. I'm sure David Unsworth was absolutely delighted with the attitude that the players shown to, get themselves back into that, because it's not easy when you're 2-0 down to come back and win a game of football. But unfortunately, the boys came crashing down to earth last night with a 4-0 defeat at Arsenal. So, swings and roundabouts for the lads at the moment.
Swings and roundabouts indeed there. But you speak about, coming from 2-0 down. You're a man who knows a thing or two about coming from behind in games. What is that feeling like in a game when you're 2-0 down? It can't be an easy place to be. How do you get that incentive to kick on and make that comeback?
I think the good thing, we're obviously, talking about the Wimbledon game in that respect. A manager will always tell you, make sure the first thing you do is good. Make sure your first pass a good pass, your first header, you win your first header as a defender. Make sure everything's, correct early on, and you set your stall out. All of a sudden, Wimbledon, we're 2-0 down before we've even begun. So the good news for us is we had plenty of time to get back into the game. Yeah. So 2-0's, 2-0's, it's always the next goal is the most important one. You're either 2-1 or you're on the cusp of coming back, or you're 3-0 down and the game's gone. Yeah. So 2-0 is a dicey scoreline. It looks comfortable, but it isn't necessarily.
It's that cliche, isn't it? That it's the this scoreline in football, isn't it?
It's a difficult one because at 2-0 you can fall into the full sense of security, thinking that you're comfortable.
But one goal changes
everything, and then all of a sudden, especially here at Goodison Park on that special day. We get the goal, and then all of a sudden, that belief comes back into you, and then the crowd are willing you on, and Barry Orn scores the world. The rest is history. The rest is history.
I can't even talk to you or think about that without getting anxiety and also goosebumps.
Do you know what the thing about that is? I've never really watched that game back. Right? I don't really watch old games. I'm never one for learning. But obviously during lockdown, we had plenty of time on our hands, didn't we? And a mate of mine sent me this clip. It was about 15 minutes long. And I just sat there and watched it, and honestly, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and it was the fear. Every time the ball went forward towards our goal, you could feel the fear.
Yeah.
You could hear the
tangible,
fear. It was mad, but it made it was quite an emotional thing to sit back and watch because I've never really done it, to be honest with you.
I've got goosebumps talking to you about it, honestly, and it happened right here. Yeah. That was honestly one of the greatest comebacks of Everton's history, but we have got another one, not as famous, but a great one nonetheless. Here's the 3-2 highlights from a couple of years ago against Watford at Vicarage Road.
Brought it down under control pretty well too, and played in Messina, who scores. Adam Messina has got his first ever goal for Watford, and Watford have the early lead here at Vicarage Road. Away by Everton, Troy Deeney playing in Roberto Pereira, and it's 2-0, all from an Everton mistake. Roberto Pereira. Luca Dean's delivery, it's a good one, and is it steered home? It is now. Yerry Mina with the final touch to poke it over the line after Holgate's effort was blocked. And Everton have got that important strike before the break. There's Yerry Mina again, and Everton are level. It's Mina at the double. What an end to this first half. Yerry Mina completely unmarked, just nods it into the back of the net. Etienne Capoue. Fouled by Delph, who needs to be careful. He's on a yellow card already, and the crowd know it. The referee, Craig Paulson, is coming across to have a word here. How does he see this? This is going to be a red card. It's a second yellow for Fabian Delph. Now Moise Keane has got a touch into the path of Richarlison, and Everton are on the counter-attack here. Richarlison into the penalty area. Moise Keane, he misses his kick. Can Walcott steer it home? He certainly can, and Everton have surely won it. Right at the death. They struck at the end of the first half, and they've done it again late in the second.
I wanted that VT to keep rolling and go on to the crowd there, because that was immense. That reaction when Walcott slotted that one in at the end.
Right.
Limbs is the word, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was mad, wasn't it? I mean, I love it. I mean, you live for moments like that as a supporter, as a player. You know, last-minute goals that win you games of football. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't. So it was one of them ones that we were all thinking, he's got to score, he's got to score. And until it hits the back of the net, you're not 100% certain. But it was great to win the game.
It was fantastic, and like you said, so them moments you're thinking, is the net going to bulge, isn't it? And thankfully Theo Walcott did the business, and I think the stills, some of the photos from the Everton end in that celebration, it's like an old painting or something. It's stunning stuff.
Oh, well, the thing about it is as well, I mean, our away following's unbelievable as well. I mean, we always pack out the away games. There's always at least 3,000 down there, and to be fair, Watford's it's not down the road, is it? So when your supporters travel down and they put the effort in and pay the money to go and see your side at somewhere like Watford, then half nice on the trip home to come back with 3 points.
Definitely. Well, hopefully we will collect the 3 points at Goodison Park today. Somebody else who will be desperate for that to happen is our captain, Seamus Coleman, and he spoke to us ahead of this one.
Seamus, big game, Premier League. They always are. How important is it to get a win today?
Yeah, listen, as you said, every game's important and every game brings its own challenges. We were disappointed last week with the result against West Ham at home, but like always, you've got an opportunity to bounce back, and thankfully again that's at home today, so 3 points would be a massive push in the right direction.
Really close game last week. What needs to be just that little bit better today?
Yeah, it was close, like you said. Listen, they scored from a set piece. We knew they'd be strong, so we were disappointed with that. But I thought we created chances last week as well, and we didn't really take them as much as we have in other games. So just be that little bit more clinical in front of goal. But again, Watford, very strong team in attack with quick players. So we need to make sure that we're solid defensively as well.
Has that been the talking point this week? I know a lot of outsiders will look at Watford last week and think, well, Everton should win that. You've been around long enough to know it doesn't work like that. Yeah,
listen, every week is a new challenge, like we said before, and every week brings a different opposition. And Liverpool were very good last week. Watford had their first game under Claudio, and they'll be ready to go again after another week's work. So it's going to be very tough for us. But at the same time, we are playing at home. We have
captain for our football club, a great figurehead for us. And his longevity's there for all to see, and he's still kicking on now. What happens is when you get a little bit older and you see all these young kids coming through, it triggers something in you, because he's got that desire, he's got that burning fire in his body anyway, naturally. But when you get some young kids who are just pushing through, you start thinking to yourself, I might only have a couple of years here, and it sort of just pushes you on again. Yeah. So Seamus is proving that. I mean, he stood the test of time, and he's a wonderful human being.
Oh, he is. He's as nice as they come, isn't he? But also got that fieriness in him that you wouldn't want to upset him. You certainly wouldn't want to get.
Well, look, I mean, you see that on a match day as well. I mean, if somebody's getting a little bit of stick flying around, Seamus is there, leading from the front. I like that. It happened at Old Trafford. Listen, I'm not condoning that you start fighting people and what have you. But obviously things kick off every so often, and I like that at Old Trafford a few weeks ago. Yeah. Everybody, one in, all in it was, and everybody got round each other, and I like that. That shows to me that there's a togetherness in the squad.
A real leader.
Great performances last week, but I thought Michael was probably one of the better ones, in fairness to him. He's a threat from corners and free kicks for us, and you know, I know he's only scored the 1 goal so far this season, but I would be very surprised if he didn't end up with half a dozen goals, which is useful for us, coming from centre half as well. So I think Michael's the most important thing when I look at Michael is he's a partnership. And that's why I'm not so sure about 3 at the back, and then Yerry Mina comes in with Michael Keane, then it's Ben Godfrey and Yerry Mina. Defenders like partnerships.
They need continuity,
yeah,
don't
a bit
they?
of continuity, and that's what I think. I think a goalkeeper wants the same back 4 in front of him if he can.
Yeah.
And I think Michael plays better when he's got a partnership with somebody and he knows what they do week in, week out.
Absolutely. And if I can pick your brains, who would you say would be the best pairing with Michael Keane?
Do you know, it's a tough one, because look, Yerry Mina's a great size, and you know, obviously, you know, they're all good players, but I think what we've got out this afternoon, if it were me, I would play Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane together, because I think going forward that's probably the more solid.
You know, keep that solidified and keep the goals out today. We would love a clean sheet, we'd love a win, but a clean sheet would be extra nice. Another player that we've got picked out, of course, Damari Gray. You know, the lad is just having an unbelievable season for the Blues so far, isn't he? Well, there he is there.
He's full of confidence, Damari. I mean, 8 appearances, 3 goals. You know, he's assisted 1 goal as well. So, look, he's got good balance. He's got good energy. He's got good pace about him as well. He's positive in everything he's done. I think, again, similar to Andros Townsend, he sort of fell into the wilderness a little bit in terms of where his career going. He's probably ecstatic to be at Everton Football Club and come here, and he realised this is a huge football club and a great opportunity for him to get his career back on track in some respects. He's hit the ground running. His confidence will be sky high. The fans love him. So, you know, what's not to like about Damari Gray at the moment?
Absolutely. And you know, some players, it feels, just fit with clubs. You know, we saw that example. I always think Stephen Pienaar, you know, went to Spurs, came back. You know, you've got players that just are meant to be here. He's been at Leicester, Damari Gray, been abroad, but he seems to have come here. The same for Andros Townsend as well. They just seem to be this perfect marriage with Everton Football Club, don't they?
It just fits at the moment, doesn't it? I mean, look, it's early days yet, and they're still, you know, they're professional players. You know, they'll know that the job's not done. You know. You can't just come along for 8 games and perform. You've got to perform for 40 odd games of the season, whatever it may be. But certainly the signs are there with both Andros and Damari that they understand what their role in the side is, and that is to create chances, to get crosses in the box, to shoot, get shots on target. Like I say, it's not enough to just be out there and think that you're doing okay. I mean, I was a kid at Chelsea, and Don Howe was my coach, and he pulled me into his office one morning and he said to me, "How many crosses did you put in the other day?" And I went, "I don't know, 6. He went, 3. "How many shots did you have on target?" I went, "I don't know, 2 or 3, Don." He went, 1. He went, "See, you think you're doing better than you are." And it opens your eyes and it makes you realise you've got to be accountable for what you do. If you're a wide player, you've got to get crosses in the box. You've got to get shots on target. If you're a midfield player, you've got to win tackles. You know, bits and pieces like that. So you've got to be accountable for what you do. It's not enough to just be there and exist.
Absolutely. No, I love that. I think that's spot on. And, you know, contributing with plenty of goals and plenty of assists. But like you said, that's got to continue. A player who'll be extra keen to keep a clean sheet today, of course, the goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford, who we can see out there now as well. What have you made of Jordan so far this season as well?
Look, I'm a huge Jordan Pickford fan. Yeah. I like him as a person. I think he's got a little bit of character. You know, he's got that, you know, glint in his eye, and he, you know, I like him as a person first and foremost. But his capability is there for all to see. Shot stopping, you know, it's as good as he gets. Anybody in the Premier League is no one's better at shot stopping than Jordan Pickford, in my opinion. Yeah. The one area that you perhaps look at but he can't do anything about is his height, is his size, and that's probably what let him down a little bit last week against Antonio with the goal, because, you know, Antonio has a run on him and he's a big lad, and Jordan was, you know, had a standing start, didn't he? Where he probably wished he could have been 2 or 3 inches taller. But look, he's the least of our worries, Jordan Pickford. He's absolutely fine. He's doing well.
Definitely, and like you said, he really is quite the character as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know you're going to get something from Jordan Pickford, but no, he's been fantastic. I think we're seeing a real maturity in his performances as well over the...
Yeah, well, I would have to say, I think Alan Kelly's helped a lot, the goalkeeping coach, Alan. I mean, I know Alan from my time at Sheffield United, and he's a fantastic person, first and foremost. I think he's quite a calming influence on Jordan as well, and I think they sit down, I think they get along very well with each other. and Alan gives him the experience that he's had, both internationally and domestically as well. So I think that's been a big boost for Jordan as well.
Real sort of mentoring.
Yeah,
role.
that kind of thing. Because I mean, we've seen a couple of times Jordan. His head does come off every so often. But I think, especially over the last year, I think Jordan's matured really, really well, and I think Alan takes a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, well, fantastic stuff from Alan Kelly as well, and Jordan Pickford, who we hope has a fantastic game between the sticks for Everton today. But now let's hear from the manager himself. Here's Rafael Benitez ahead of this one.
Rafa, you and Claudio go back a long way. In your programme notes you talk about Valencia Extremadura 1998. Do you remember the game?
No, I don't remember the game, but I know that Toril, one of the players that I brought from the academy of Real Madrid, scored the goal. But I remember him more in Fiorentina when he was the manager, and he invited me, or he allowed me to go into the dressing room. So very good memories at this time.
What are we expecting from your team today? What needs to be better from last weekend?
The final score. So, no, we have to be sure that we play as a team like we did in a lot of games. And even the other day we have some chances, so we have to take our chances. See, we have chances, but be sure that we are solid, we are well organized, and we make it difficult for them to have the belief that they can score or they can win. But that is the Premier League, you never know. And it's a good team with an experienced manager, so it will be tough.
We've seen 2 changes to your team with Anthony Gordon coming in and Tom Davies' first Premier League start of the season. You will obviously miss Abdoulaye Doucouré, but what can Tom Davies bring today?
I think energy. At the same time, that he's a local player, he knows what means that he has energy, and then Doucouré had energy. Hopefully Tom can do the same, and then maybe he can score a goal.
Yeah, Rafa Benitez there ahead of this one. He'll be really desperate to get things back on track, won't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think they, as a squad, as a staff, we've got to get back on track. I mean, the worst thing in the world is losing 2 on the spin, especially at home. That creates pressure on you as a person, as a football club as well. So I think it's imperative that we get out there first 10 minutes today and really set our stall out. As I said before, get out there, get some shots on target, get some crosses in the box, get this crowd up. Let's get going.
Oh, that's what we need. An early goal would be perfect, wouldn't it, really? Something to, we didn't score last week as well. We used to think that was only the second game of the season. Yeah. We've not scored in, but we have obviously been heavily hit in terms of Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison being missing. We've seen Townsend, Damari Gray chip in with the goals. Do you think Anthony Gordon today, Damari Gray, Townsend, that's where the goals are going to come from?
That's where you're looking for your goals. I mean, you make a good point, Sarah. When you lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin and you lose Richarlison out your side, that's a lot of goals for us. If you look at the amount of goals in terms of ratio to the other players, that's a lot of goals to lose from your team, and that hurts anybody. So, of course, Andros and Damari have chipped in, and that's been a saving grace for us. But we need others chipping in as well. You mentioned Anthony Gordon. He's got to get himself in situations where he can get shots on target, get in at the far post, and try and nick himself a goal as well, because we are crying out for goals to be scored from other areas on the pitch and not just be reliant on the Richarlisons and the Calvert-Lewins.
Definitely. Well, let's hope that we get the goals from somewhere today and that we get the 3 points. Graham Stuart, thank you so much for joining us as ever on Everton Live. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Now, we are going to finish again on an important note, and that is there is no room for racism in any walks of life.
This is Premier League football, and there's no room for racism anywhere. We monitor abuse in the stands, where racism will not be tolerated. With dedicated teams, we will continue to investigate discrimination online. And now, those found guilty will be banned from every Premier League stadium. When it comes to fighting racism, rivalries don't matter. Thank you for your support. We will continue to take action. But we can all do more. We all need to tackle this together. Challenge it, report it, change it. There's no room for racism anywhere.